Oh. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the stream. How's everybody doing? I want to thank you so much for KaijuCanuck for joining me in this stream. Uh, yeah, I say we just get right into it.
Cool. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me, Talon.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this.
I'm always excited to talk about toys.
Me too. My friend Zahir is probably watching this right now. He's a big fan of Godzilla as well, and he's great. I hope he's in this right now watching. Yeah. I say we just start off with SH Monster Arts. Let me pull up the list that I sent you.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. So SH Monster Arts. What is your opinion on SH Monsters? What's your perspective from like a collector's standpoint?
Yeah. So SH Monster Arts. Like I've said it since the start of my channel. Like, I don't love their products. Often I find them. I'm like too scared to do anything with them because I'm worried that they'll fall apart. Like I've got the special color version by Olante, and like you look at her funny and the arms will pop off. What else? I used to have a couple of other figures, but I sold them off. I've got the Jet Jaguar. The accessories for Jet Jaguar really pissed me off, but the figure itself is kind of nice. And I have the Kong from GVK, and then I have the Godzilla from GXK. And I actually quite like those figures. And I have the Godzilla Evolved and the Scar King on order, which I'll be covering on the channel. I can appreciate the figures for what they are. They're not the most fun things to me, but I think that's more indicative of just my perspective as the audience member rather than like the inherent nature of the products themselves. I feel like Monster Arts gets an unusual amount of flack for some of the decisions that they make regarding character accuracy. If you know anything about Japanese toys, like the Japanese love stylization. They love being able to take a character and put a unique spin on it. And I feel like they get pretty damn close with their Monster Arts figures. Well, when it comes to classic Toho stuff, they get really damn close. And for stuff like the Hedra, which came out for the anniversary, they decided to intentionally stylize it a little bit to make it seem more like a monster rather than a costume, which I thought was nice. It's Monster Arts. Put the monster in Monster Arts. There was the interview that the Articulation series Michael put out recently, talking a little bit about why their legendary releases are not as accurate as people may hope for them to be. And they were basically saying that, like, they use the CGI data that's available. Actually, it's not even the CGI data. They use 2D reference, so two-dimensional images of the 3D assets about a year out from when the movie's supposed to come out. And I think that just speaks to like behind the scenes of these movies, like how much things are changing at any given moment. I believe in talking with Jared, like the Godzilla Evolved design was locked in years ago. It was locked in shortly after Godzilla versus Kong. And so when you look at that Godzilla Evolved Monster Arts figure, like it's pretty damn accurate. It's pretty close. But then you get to something like Scar King, where he's a little bit bigger than Kong, and his face is maybe a little bit more. I don't even know what you say. Maybe some of his fangs are a little bit more subdued, and the figure comes with like this smile, even though he like grins in the movie, but it's more like a strange smile that he doesn't really do in the movie. And then there's Shimo, And people made the comparisons like, oh, Shimo looks like the Playmates figure, and it's like, but now it makes sense. Like, Monster Arts and Playmates would have been starting that production like a year before the movie came out, and so they probably used reference material that looked the same between the two of them. Now, granted, I do think that the Monster Arts figure could use a little bit of like shading to bring out some of that sculpt, but we've got a peek behind the curtain when it comes to Monster Arts and like their legendary stuff. But for what they are, like they are really focusing on like hyper articulation, hand sculpted pieces, with a little twist, a little bit of stylization where they feel it's appropriate, and I can really appreciate that, even if most of the products are not stuff that like I myself will be picking up. Um, like of all the stuff that went up for pre-order this year, do I still have this open? Like I didn't pick up the Space Godzilla. I didn't pick up the Mogera. What else? What else? Let me see. I'm just loading it up now. I picked up Jet Jaguar because like it's Jet Jaguar. Come on. Um, like I'm not picking up the orthochromatic Shin or the Godzilla 54. I'm not getting Shimo. I don't think I'm gonna get Suko or Mothra. Like I don't pick up very many of these releases, but stuff like the Scar King I picked up because I thought it might be good to review on the channel. But also, like I'm looking at it and it's just like, yeah, I'm down for a stylization of Scar King where he's a little bit bigger than Kong, because when we had our early promotional stuff for GXK, I think all of us thought, unless you read the leaks, but I think most of us thought that it was going to be Godzilla and Kong versus Scar King. And so
Yeah.
understanding that Scar King would be a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger. And you can get that if you're doing the Monster Arts releases, where presumably whenever Haya gets around to it, they're going to make him properly scaled. He's going to be a little bit shorter than Kong. So, like, I think that Monster Arts is there. It offers something unique, especially now considered to when you compare it to like Haya toys. Um, and I've said this before, that I do think that Monster Arts had a monopoly in the market for a long time. They were the only option available. And so if you just didn't like their decisions and what they were doing, you were just kind of stuck with it, and maybe people grew a little bit of disdain for that. But now that we have other players in the space, I think that I would hope that the discourse around Monster Arts would lighten up a little bit, and that people see it as more something that's optional rather than their only choice.
Yeah. I definitely agree with most of that. I do think I do think sorry. I do think that SH Monster Arts gets famed a lot for um honestly, I don't even know what I'm saying.
Take a Talon, deep breath, okay? What are your thoughts? This is no pressure. I'm not
Okay.
going to slap you.
Because I know some people hate, because I heard you say like somebody got flamed in one of the Discord servers you're in for liking SH Monster Arts. I don't want to be that
This
guy,
this
man.
is a regular occurrence that I see
Okay.
people come to this. They come to like Harold's stream, and they talk to us about how like they're getting bullied by people on Discord for liking Monster Arts. And it's just like, dude, we're talking about toys. At the end of the day, like if you right size this, we're talking about toys. There's no need to bully people, and there's also no need to take somebody seriously if they're trying to bully you over because your toy is not their toy. Like it's just silly. That
Yeah.
being said, like if you have an opinion on it, like it's valid. You're
Okay.
fine.
Okay. I feel like Monster Arts has an up and down, in my opinion. They release some good figures. In my opinion, I really like the Godzilla Final Wars figure.
Hmm.
That is one of my favorite figures, and I know a lot of people had issues with that with it falling apart.
Yeah.
I haven't had that. I feel like the tail fell off once,
Hmm.
and that's it because I was kind of forcing it. And then one of the worst releases, in my opinion, is the the repaint of Shin Godzilla, the orthochromatic version. That
Okay.
is one of, in my opinion, one of the worst figures because it's $160
Hmm.
and it doesn't come with anything. It's just the original figure, just black and white.
Mm.
But that's just my opinion. And Shimo, I'm gonna be picking up the Haya Toys version.
Yeah.
I saw your video on it, and it's like it takes up so much shelf space, which I don't have. If I have my shelf over here, I could probably show you. This is my shelf over here,
Yeah.
and I do not have the space for it. I just do not have the space for it at all. I was gonna get the Haya Toys King Ghidorah.
The 91.
The
Or legendary.
MonsterVerse, the MonsterVerse.
Gotcha.
But like that figure is just so big that I cannot fit it anywhere in my room. I can't fit it over there. I can't fit it over here.
Yeah.
I have nowhere to put it. I do not have the space for any of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I get it. I get it. Look, I didn't have a lot of space for this stuff too until I bought a house, and then I made a deal with my wife. I said, look, I want to be able to do whatever I want in my man cave, in my little section of the basement. You can do whatever you want with the rest of the house. And I was like, okay, deal.
I don't want to say hi, Goji Guy. Godzilla Guy's in here. I'm a big fan of him. I'm sorry.
Goji Guy, hello. I'm in contact with Goji Guy because when I get to planning the next episode of Jeopardy, I want Goji Guy on. So
That Jeopardy sounded so fun. I want to go on it. It looks so fun because you had some of my G-Man 1954 is one of my childhood YouTubers. I don't know if you know who like Louis Duran is, but like Louis Duran, D-Man 1954 are like my childhood Godzilla YouTubers, and I'm so jealous that you got them on there. I love them so much.
yeah, it was a ton of fun to film. Louis actually he commented on some of my stuff very early on my YouTube career, and he was always very kind, came to my streams just to pop in and say hello. So Louis was always very nice to me. D-Man's been around forever. Like I've known D-Man as a viewer for a while. And actually he reached out to me at one point too, and just had a lot of words of encouragement for me. So yeah, it was a lot of fun to record. It was a complete pain in the neck to edit. I think it has like over 1,200 cuts, something like that.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and like my computer was chugging. But the next round will be fun.
Okay. Yeah. For my computer, I run everything off of a Mac. I edit everything on a Mac, but it's a really powerful Mac. It's one of the new ones.
Okay.
And I play Minecraft on everything. I play Minecraft on this thing, and it runs really well.
Nice.
So, yeah. Okay. I want to talk about repaints and reissues.
Sure.
I think if you do like a repaint well, I think you can succeed with it. But with like, I think what Bandai doesn't do is it adds stuff. They don't add stuff to the repaints, which is a big problem for me. Because if I want to buy a figure, like if it's like a reissue, I want something to like come with that figure. I'm definitely like a beam person. I love having beams with figures, so I want them to add a beam. But that's just me. I'm really bad at explaining things, so.
No, I think that's reasonable. Like when you do a repaint, they're like you pick characters that you can do repaints of, because once you have the steel molds made, then making a new version of the figure is relatively inexpensive. And like we see this with Haya, right? Like how many legendary Godzillas has Haya churned out? I think
like 9.
Yeah, right. But they do that so that the money that they save from not having to retool it, they can give you a Muto or a Skullcrawler, or whomever else they've got coming down the pipeline. But at the same time, the repaint has to be compelling for me to want to double dip, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like, there are some figures where you can get away with it.
You're on mute, by the way, Kyle. You're on mute. There we go.
Good.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So there are some figures where like you can do a straight repaint and it kind of makes sense. And so for me, this is like -1 minus color.
Yeah.
You can do that straight repaint, and it's like okay, that's fine. Uh, beam variants. Beam variants, like yeah, you make the standard one, and then you make the one with the blue spines, and then you do like a beam effect. And then there are some figures, I think like the beam. What was I don't even remember what the purple shin from Monster Arts was called. It had this big
Fourth Awakening version.
Fourth Awakening version, yes. Like that was like it had the fire effect and then the explosion base that you could plug it into, and then the beams. Like, so there's stuff to be done there. But when you get into things like battle damaged or decisive battle versions, then I think that there should be more things in the box.
Yeah.
Like I know, like we are so fortunate to exist in this time where like a lot of these companies are very transparent now. I think Super 7 is like the leading among them. They're very transparent about like how they do things, how you make money, all this stuff. And like we all know now how much money they save by doing repaints. And I just think that some of that money they save should be converted into like a value proposition for the customer. Like we were talking before the stream went live, Tamashi Nations has the molds for like those old accessory packs with the buildings and the beams, and yet they don't use any of them. They don't use any of them. Like they're just sitting there. So
Yeah.
I think I totally get where you're coming from. That when you do repaints, there needs to be the value proposition there for sure.
Yeah. And because SH Monster Arts figures are not cheap at all. Because I made a video on the repaints for this San Diego Comic Con Godzilla 1989 and the orthochromatic version.
Mm-hmm.
And in my video I said like if you're going to add stuff to these repaints, bring a beam. But then I think like and then I saw like the stream with you and Harold, and it's like it's him charging up his beam, not not an actual beam. And I also say True Structimus Vaughn Jr. say he doesn't have a beam because it's him charging for the beam.
It's no, I feel that. I feel that. The Shin orthochromatic, I know you're not a big fan of that one. That one I believe is largely targeted at Japan, where they had the orthochromatic version of the film air in theaters, and it was very successful. Like it had really good box office numbers, so they decided to make a figure of it. I've talked to people who had no idea that movie existed and had no idea where this repaint came from. They're like, why on earth are they doing a grayscale Shin Godzilla? And it's like, yeah, well, because to coincide with this movie that released in Japan. It was like, oh, okay, well, I just didn't know that. I think Ortho Shin, I made the video on it. I feel like Ortho Shin is like the definitive Monster Arts release in the sense that it is targeted entirely at Japanese customers, and they're bringing it over to the States for those who may be interested in it. They don't expect that folks like you and I are going to be the main target audience, but Japan seems very excited about it. So,
Yeah.
I do think if you think it's an underwhelming paint deco, it's an underwhelming. There's nothing I can do to change your mind. But I do think that it's a really good reminder in that Monster Arts is and has been primarily directed at Japanese markets.
Yeah. I haven't really thought about that much because I'm not like a huge like person in the SH Monster Arts. I only have like 5 on my shelf. I'm not a huge SH Monster Art collector.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like Rob from Shin Rob Jira.
Yeah.
I collect the vinyls. All
Yeah.
Then like those 2 bottom shelves right there are just NECA figures.
Yep.
And then all of these ones are vinyls.
Mm-hmm.
I mainly collect vinyls because I'm too scared to do anything with them. Like what you said, because I traded my friend the Godzilla Ultima for a 2001 the Atomic Blast version for Godzilla 2001.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know if it was a good deal, but I know his brother really likes the Ultimate design, so I
Mhm.
made somebody else happy. I made like another collector happy.
It's great.
But the end of the tail kept falling off whenever I would just like move the tail a little bit. Like the tip of the tail would just fall off.
Yes.
Like even if I moved it slightly, it just fell off. And also
Yeah.
like the hand fell off, the head falls off really easily.
Hmm.
I fixed the tail though. I just put like a dab of super glue on it and it was fine. The head
Hmm.
and the hand I'm really scared to do because those are like the main parts of the figure I like to play
Yes.
with because I like putting like different poses and stuff. So I'm really
Hmm.
scared to like do any modifications to them.
Yeah.
And I got the Kong 2021 and that figure is just sitting in my closet in its box because like the joint at the elbow just doesn't want to go on.
Mm.
It doesn't want to go on. So I'm like, okay, this is bad. So
Yeah.
I'm
So
like,
is that the first issue or is that the event exclusive?
it's the first issue from. Not. I
Yeah.
want to get the San Diego Comic Con exclusive one.
Yeah, that's the one that I have. I have the event exclusive, but I do hear that the variance for that first issue was like all over the place.
Yeah, and I have the Godzilla 2021 version, and it's great. I used to have the 2019 version, but I don't know if I'm allowed to say this on stream. But I don't know if you know who Spinosaurus Saurian is. I know there's a whole bunch of controversy around him, like on
Okay,
Twitter and stuff.
yeah, I have
Okay.
no idea who he is.
Uh, I'm not gonna get into it. But like he has a whole bunch of controversy. But like the tail for his 2019 just keeps on falling off, and that's what happened with mine. And the joint got so loose, I couldn't put the tail back on,
Hmm.
and so I just had to I just had to get rid of it because there was no point in me having it. I kept
Right.
the jaw, I kept the beam, but that's
Hmm.
it because I
Yeah.
couldn't pose anything.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I skipped what I got. So I got like the Biolante special color version, and then I got the event exclusive Kong. But anything in between those two, very unfamiliar with. But I do know that at some point they switched over to Vietnamese factories, and the variance was like pretty bad with the Vietnamese factories. Like the Godzilla Final Wars figure, I think was one of those where there were some that had like really solid pieces, like probably maybe yours is really solid, and then others is just like it wouldn't even stay together.
Yeah. Um, I did see a few complaints with it because I know Jobby's figure had a few loose joints. Mine doesn't really have any, which I'm really happy with.
I'm not sure.
Um, I made a video about the JXK line. Do you want to get into that next?
Yeah, sure.
Um, Shimo, uh, it I said it was really bad, but I was being really harsh. I wrote out the wrong side of the bed for SH Monster Arts that day. um, it's it's all right. After looking at the figure, it's all right. Um, no shelf space like I already told you guys. But Scar King, it looks fine. Because I know you have the Scar King on back order, right?
Yes, I do have Scar King coming. Yeah.
Okay.
Shimo is too much. It's like I actually think that the figure looks fine. And it has the size to it. I don't want to spend that much money on it.
Okay, yeah, I that's fair. That's fair. I'm think I'm just gonna pick up the Haya version. It looks way better, and I definitely talked about that in my video where it looks like a Playmates figure.
Yeah. I think that's fair. Like they use similar design assets. The monster arts it could really use a wash to bring out
Yeah,
some of that detail, but it just looks too clean. It looks very clean, and that's why that doesn't help the Playmates comparison because the Playmates is also very clean. Both of
yeah,
these figures could look so much better if they had a black wash. Obviously the difference is that one costs 24 times the price of the other one. Um, but like if it was like 30% less expensive, I might pick it up because I do think like it's a special moment in the line, like this really big creature, where Monster Arts has not really made any. Well, they haven't made any of the original MonsterVerse kaiju, right? Like Scar King is the first one, and then Shimo's the second one. So like it feels special in that, right? But also like the execution and the price just is not enough for me to pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, that's fair. And my main issue with the Shimo is that it's too large, but also I feel like the neck is a lot longer than it's supposed to be.
Mm.
But I don't really know. Let me
I think you're right. I think you're right that the neck is a little bit longer than it is on screen.
Yeah, I the which like in some promo images it looks fine, but it's just some like it's like the one where she's roaring this
Yes.
way. Oh crap, my phone is at 20%. I use my phone as my webcam.
Do you actually?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay.
I have a really scuffed YouTube setup.
Clearly. Can you plug it in?
It's supposed to be plugged in right now. Hold on. Technical difficulties, chat. It says it's charging. What the heck? I'll
Maybe
get the
it's
notification.
just using power faster than it's gaining power.
I don't know. I'm trying to get a camera. I'm trying to get a Sony camera for Christmas because I can't keep using my phone. So I have a really scuffed setup, and I can't believe I've gotten this far with 400 subscribers.
Hey man, minimum viable product. I don't know if you know what that is.
I don't know what that is.
But it's basically like do the minimum amount you need to get started, and then you can start like upgrading your equipment. Like don't buy all the shit and then like you go and your channel doesn't go anywhere, because then it's like I spent all this money,
Yeah.
right? So make the best of with what you can, and then with time you can upgrade stuff.
Yeah. I've been on YouTube for almost 10 years.
Jeez, okay.
Next year is my 10th year anniversary, and I had a whole bunch of old videos from when I started, but I deleted all of them. And my newest video is at 5 years, but I'm making it 10 years next year because it looks better in the title. It looks better in the title.
It looks better than 10 years, but not really, kind of, sort of.
I'll just put 10-year anniversary, kind of, sort of.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy with where my channel has gone.
Good.
I'm really happy. I want it to get bigger. I do want to collab with more people. One of my YouTubers I really want to collab with is Goji Guy. I really want to collab with him. I had a whole board. I have a whiteboard off screen, and I just I just did like the collabs, and you were on there.
You manifested it.
I was so happy that you want to do a stream on your 1 year anniversary on YouTube. I was so happy you said yes.
Yeah, well, I'm happy to be here. We don't have to make this about me. This is your show.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, so we talked about Shimo.
Yes. I made a video on this. It's the solicitation versus the final product.
Sure.
Because I made a video on that with the Super 7 because I got a lot of comments on my review being like distasteful of the figure. So I kind of went over those comments and they're like their main complaints. So I don't know how you stand on that. I feel like a company should try and fulfill those through the final product. But that's just me though. I feel like if you're gonna show like promotional photos that are really good, you should try and fulfill that. Because the main problem with the Super 7 Godzilla was it was too glossy. Sure. And I know it looks really glossy on camera, but it's not that. It's a lot less glossy in hand.
Yeah, it's still a little bit glossy in hand, but depending on your lighting situation, it can look wildly different from photo to photo.
Yeah.
So my stance on like solicitation images versus what you get in hand, and this is like general across the board, I would say, because Monster Arts, I think, has a lot of this stuff going on as well. Um, like a company stands, they have everything to lose by making a good solicitation photo and then not living up to it, right? Like
Yeah.
they're putting their neck on the line every time they do that.
Yeah.
Um, so you know, I do think that there's something to be said about like the transition from what the ideal is and then moving it into mass production. And a company should do their absolute damnedest to get close to that. That being said, I'll give you my take on it. I am not saying that this is the correct take to have. I'm not saying that other people should think this. This is just how I look at it, and this is why it does not bother me that much when there is variance. Okay, so this is purely me, and I don't want anybody to think that I'm telling them to think this way. Okay, when you go to Wendy's, okay, and you order a burger, and your burger doesn't look exactly like it does on the poster, are you that bothered by it?
Not really.
Right? Because what's most important is that you capture the essence of what was promised. Right?
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, I don't need it to match one for one. I just need a tasty burger. And so for me, when I get that figure in my hand, I'm not looking at the finer details of like how much it matches what the solicitation images were. I'm just looking at what's in my hand and I'm like, does this capture the essence of what I was looking for? And usually it's yes. And maybe that's because my expectations are low, or maybe that's just because like I maybe I enjoy the hobby more than other people do, and I'm not like I don't have this hyper fixation. Like some people, they need those hyper fixated details in order to feel like the essence is captured. Whereas I don't really need that. Like I can get like look at I got the fucking Hawaiian pink reaction, right? And I absolutely love this thing. And despite it not looking anything like Hedera that I've ever known Hedera to look like. So that is just my take. And I'm already seeing Tig in the comments like Wendy's isn't $100. Okay. Tig, you're absolutely right. Wendy's isn't $100. That's why I'm saying this is just my perspective. That if you actually take a look at the way things all around you are advertised, you will often find that the reality is lagging behind. Whether
Yeah.
that is food, whether that is the technology that you purchase, whether that is like the collectibles that you buy, they are often hyping themselves up more than you will actually get. At the end of the day, it's just are you happy enough with the product? That's what you should be asking yourself. And for many people, they will buy a Monster Arts figure and it doesn't live up to the hype. And I think that that's completely fine. And if that's when they decide to exit the hobby, more power to them. And that's when I'm happy to say that like Haya is in the market now. It is not your only option to go to Monster Arts. There are other people out there. Yeah, that's just sort of my thoughts. So I guess to summarize it, I think that companies put themselves in a very precarious situation when they promise things that they may not be able to deliver. But for me as a customer, I'm looking at whether the thing I actually purchased captures the essence of what I was sold on, rather than one-to-one accuracy with what the solicitation images were.
You did that perfectly, man. You are really good at explaining these types of things. I am bad at this. Holy crap. I don't really have any other like thoughts about that. You did that really well.
Well, thank you.
I think that's I think that's all we have to do for like solicitation photos.
Okay.
One of my favorite topics I have on here is it is it the material that they're using that makes it so expensive, or is it the Toho tax?
Probably both, and probably more on top of that. So one is talent, right? Like a lot of these are being sculpted by renowned sculptors, whether that's Yuji Sakai or other people that helped work on the suits for the movies. 2 is articulation. Not necessarily for articulation's sake, but it's more so number of pieces. You may have heard, anybody who's watching this may have heard in my interview with Kyle, is that all of these figures are being hand assembled in factories. And if it takes longer to assemble a figure, that is a higher wage you have to pay the people that are assembling it. And so, I don't even have a good example on hand, but like Monster Arts -1, like that thing probably has like 200 separate pieces, maybe even more than that, which somebody on a factory line had to hand assemble everything. So versus something like a reaction figure, a reaction has like 8 pieces, right? Like that is really easy to slap together in a factory versus something with 200 pieces. So that's another factor, is if you need more time to assemble the figure, then it's gonna be a higher cost to the customer. It could be materials. I don't know too much on the material side, although from the Monster Arts figures that I do have, I do feel like the material is a little bit higher quality than, let's say, Haya or Super 7. Like, Haya did the Skull Island Kong figure. I don't know if you picked it up, Talon, but it's a great toy. If you can get over the inaccuracy to the movie, it's a great figure.
To be honest, I don't have any Haya Toys figure at all.
Whoa, you heathen.
I really like Haya.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm really pissed about this. I'm sorry. We're going off topic, but I ordered the Godzilla 2019 from KOTM, and they canceled my order because I ordered it on a weekend.
Where did you order it from?
Haya.
Oh.
And I was really mad about that because I was so like, oh, I'm so excited. I ordered it on Saturday, and then on Sunday night, I got a notification saying your order has been canceled. I was so pissed because I was so excited for it.
Well, that's disappointing.
Because I waited like a month and a half to go back in stock because for some reason, Haya Toys never restocks their figures.
It's funny that you mentioned this because they're doing a restock right now. If you go to KaijuCanuck.com, they're restocking, I think, like 12 different figures.
KaijuCanuck Toys. I know Harold has an affiliate. Okay.
Yeah.
How do you become an affiliate? Because I really do want to become like an affiliate for something.
You typically, if you go to like the bottom of the website pages, there'll be something about like affiliates. Or if you just Google like KaijuCanuck affiliate, you should be able to find something. But yeah, they're restocking like 2019. They're restocking 2021 2.0. They're restocking Muto. And it's actually not a bad price, like $60 shipped. That's pretty good. And if you use Harold's coupon code, that'll knock it down to like 57.50, something like that.
Yeah.
So that is a timely comment to make, that they never restock anything, because normally you would be right.
I'm gonna be honest. I never look at like third party things. I always go to like the first party where like they actually sell them from. I should be looking at this more often.
Yeah, well, Haya Toy shipping directly from Haya Toys is really expensive.
It's $30. It cost because it was $81 in total for mine, and now I'm looking at it. I saw a video on like you were trying to get like a free Haya, like the Burning Godzilla battle version, right?
Yeah, I wasn't trying to get a free
one. Okay, my bad. You
I was trying to abide by the terms of our agreement that they would send me free stuff if I partnered with them to promote their site. Okay?
I'm sorry.
This is not me emailing them like, hey, send me free shit. Okay? I just want people to know that.
I'm sorry, guys. This is my fault, not Kyle's fault. Blame me, not Kyle. Send me the hate on the KaijuCanuck box server if you want.
There you go.
I am asking you to hate on me for that, guys.
Perfect.
but it's $175 for the battle version for the Burning Godzilla. That
On
is
Calcus?
on Calcus. It's $175.
Yeah, and it sold out immediately.
Because your video, you said like they had to like cancel a lot of orders because they didn't fill like the
Oh,
like.
so mine was with INS Hobby. Harold's
Oh,
was with Calcus.
never mind. I need to pay more
But
attention.
you're correct. They oversold, and I forget their terminology, but they were like some shenanigans happened, and they weren't able to get the stock that they were hoping to, and they had to refund. They had to refund a bunch of the orders.
Because isn't it like a San Diego Comic Con? It's an exclusive to CDC, whatever, San Diego Comic Con, right? Or is it different?
So it was not a conference, a convention in Shanghai called Wonder Festival. It's
Okay.
it's the big Chinese collectible. Well, not even just collectible, but that's like the big China event. And they made 1,000 units, limited to only that venue. So you had to be there to actually buy the figure. And so folks from Calcus and then folks from INS Hobby were going in and finding ways to buy units just to resell on their own websites.
So is Haya just? I guess that okay. Before we get to Haya, that was all I had for the SHMA. Let's just get into Haya since we're talking
Sure.
about Haya.
Yeah.
I think there's a problem with, in my opinion, I think that's a huge problem because I don't think you should, if it's like just at a convention, how do you know how many people are gonna buy that figure? So how do you how do you know that?
Yeah. So INS Hobby put up the solicitation prior to it actually being revealed that it was an event exclusive. And so and this was new territory. They hadn't done this with their Godzilla line before. And so I had emailed them. I was like, hey, it turns out that this thing is event exclusive. You have to be at the event. Like, what does this mean for the listings? And they were like, don't worry about it. So like, okay, I'm not worried about it. They told me not to worry about it. Like maybe they know something that we don't. And time went on and more information was coming out. And still, like, it was just like, you have to be at the venue in order to get it. So I emailed them again. I said, hey, I'm just double checking because I'm telling people that they can get it at your website, but Haya themselves is saying that it's only available at the venue. And they were like, yes, we know that it's a venue exclusive. We may not be able to sell that many, but we're not really that worried about it. I was like, okay, that's fine. And then the event happened and they sold out initially and then they put up more orders. So I don't know what happened if like they went in, they got the stuff for their inventory, and then they were like, oh, like maybe we can come back tomorrow and get more. And so they put up more order slots, but a bunch of those order slots ended up getting canceled because they weren't actually able to get the inventory. I don't know if maybe the Haya booth just ran out or whatever. But so that was a unique situation, I think, for pretty much everybody. And I think INS Hobby just what they've been doing is before a figure is officially solicited. So a good example of this is like the Heisei Mechagodzilla 2, the 1993 one. Like you can go into their website and put a deposit down for it, even though the official listing hasn't gone up. You can go and you put a $10 deposit. And the way the incentive that you might have to do that is they ship in order of who places orders first. So if you were to go in now and make a deposit, then they'll ship yours before the person who waits for the solicitation. That's the only real benefit of you doing that, is if you really, really want that figure first. And I saw this a lot with the Godzilla 2000 figure, because I think a lot of people have been waiting for a movie accurate Godzilla 2000.
I certainly have. I was not pleased with the SH Monster Arts.
Right. And so I actually saw a decent number of people going in and putting deposits down for that one, because I think they've been waiting forever and they just really wanted that one as soon as possible. So that's what happened. Is they normally do this method of doing these I forget they call it like pre-bookings. And if you go and you get a pre-book, then they'll ship yours first. And then they did it with Burning Godzilla, and then the circumstances around the release changed. They had a certain level of confidence that they were going to be able to fulfill orders, and then that turned out to not be the fact. Um, I believe they've sent out apology emails to those folks. If they haven't, then they should. Um, and yeah, it's just a crappy situation. Like I wasn't able to get one. Um, and I hope that Haya changes course on how they handle that release. I think it would be really cool to if they did a second issuing of that figure. Maybe if it doesn't have like the Ghidorah pieces, like I can go without the Ghidorah pieces. But if they could find a way to issue it again in a way that does not make the exclusive nature of the first one any less, I think that would be neat.
Yeah. I think with the Ghidorah parts, I think it's stupid. I'm not gonna lie, just to like put those in. That's just my personal opinion, though. Um, because if because there's no parts that you can do with the original Ghidorah figure if you get the burning one.
Yeah, I had that issue too. Like I have the first Ghidorah. I didn't feel the need to double dip and get the second Ghidorah. And now it feel well, not me personally, because I don't have Burning Godzilla, but it feels as though I would be punished for not buying another Ghidorah figure because the pieces only work with that second one.
Yeah.
Whereas like I feel as though maybe the right move to do was to make pieces in a color that would work with either of them, like pick a color that's somewhere between the two. But I also acknowledge that it's possible that if you did that, if you tried to make a piece that looks okay on either of them, you make a piece that looks good on neither of them. I think that
Yeah.
is definitely a possibility. And like at the end of it, they just made the call. They said we're gonna make it for. At the end of the day, like they were gonna piss off one or the other. They were like, either the beam variant crowd is gonna be upset or the OG crowd is gonna be upset, and so they just made a
Yeah.
call. I do. Maybe this is what you this is where you're coming from and saying that it's stupid. I really don't like that an exclusive, a venue limited exclusive, comes with unique pieces. I think that I think that methods like that, strategies like that, actively make the hobby a worse place.
That's definitely that's fair. That yeah. I that's fair. And I think if you're gonna fulfill like if you're doing like an event exclusive, you should. I mean, it does make sense if a little bit because if you want people to buy the event exclusive, it should come with extra pieces. But like if it's for one figure and not the other, like if it's for both, what am I going on about? I'm okay. Let me finish my stupid rant. If you're gonna if you're gonna do like extra parts for a different like for a figure, that's like another $100.
Mm-hmm.
I see it as kind of stupid to include those or just like sell them separately, like what Bandai does. Like we were talking about that earlier. It's like do it as like a separate like piece with like the old
Mm-hmm.
like sets, like the Destroya set, like version like forum set, just like
Sure.
that.
Yeah. I also we also didn't really talk about how the GXK Monster Arts line has the build parts for Kong.
It's like the Marvel Legends like thing. It's like Build a Kong.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't want to retread too much ground because I know your camera's probably dying, but like the idea that I need to buy a $240 Shimo to complete my $75 Kong really just like I throw my hands up in the air. Like, what are we doing here? Why are we doing this?
Yeah. Uh, I think my camera's fine, by the way. Let me check it real quick. Okay, yeah, we're good. We're at 50%. We're fine. It's plugged
There you
in.
go.
There we go. We can talk for more. Let's go. I'm so happy. um, what were we on? Sorry, ADHD kicked in. What
So we were talking about the event exclusive Burning
okay,
Godzilla.
okay.
The bonus pieces, we don't like them for different reasons.
Yeah. Um, what are your opinions on the first version of the Burning Godzilla?
I think it looks neat. I don't have it. I because limited shelf space, yes, but also like when you have a mortgage to pay, like you don't pick up every release. You pick up the ones that are coolest. And I kind of thought that there would be a better version that came down the line. Uh, I like the first Haya version more than I like the Monster Arts version.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, no, I like how the first version looks. If I could ever find it at a decent price, I might jump on it.
That's I don't have any Haya toys. I think it looks okay. I definitely think the NECA one is probably the best burning Godzilla so far.
Hmm.
I I don't have that figure at all. But I think that's definitely the best one in my opinion. But
Hmm.
that's just I don't know, but NECA they were such a good company. I forgot to send you this, but it's like random like other topics to talk about, and NECA was like one of them. And it was, will NECA pick up the license again? And I don't think they will, which is really sad.
I I was talking to someone a couple of years ago who suggested to me that NECA was interested in picking the license back up. But this was before I think Haya Toys was really in the market. And I mean, is there a world where NECA and Haya exist at the same time? I don't think so personally.
Um, I don't, I don't. Another thing I wanted to like, I wonder if the Bandai Tamashii Nations is gonna lose the license. Do you think they will, or is it like,
No.
or did Toho create the company? I don't know how that works. Like,
No, they've been buddies for like what, like almost 40 years?
okay, that may,
Uh,
okay,
yeah, it's just one of those situations where like if Toho is happy with what Bandai is doing, then there's no reason for them to revoke their license. If Bandai does something to piss Toho off, that's different. But Bandai is like the third largest toy company in the whole world, and presumably Toho is making bank on royalties that they earn from the Godzilla merchandise. So I don't really see any good reason that the license would get pulled.
okay, that makes sense. I think it would be interesting to see if it does. I I don't know what would happen.
Interesting to see if it does, or interesting to see
What would happen?
what would happen in the space.
Yeah.
Um, so I I think it would be like a huge, like sky is falling type event. Um, and but despite the fact that Monster Arts has its folks that don't really like their products, I think that fewer competitors in the space is usually not great for the customer.
Yeah.
Like if Super 7 went away and Monster Arts went away and only Haya was left, I don't think that that would be good. Um, I think that it's good to have market alternatives. I think it's good to have choice, and I think it's good for companies to push each other to deliver good stuff for customers. So it would be kind of interesting to see what happens. I mean, as you probably know, like when you have a license, you license out properties, yes, but also different form factors. So
Yeah.
Super 7 has the 8-inch articulated action figure and the 3 3/4 inch articulated action figure. Haya has the 7-inch action figure. Bandai has like 6-inch articulated, which is huge. And then they've also got 6-inch vinyl, and they've also got license in the States for vinyl and for their new action figure lines. So if they were to lose the license, all of those form factors would be up for grabs, and it would be interesting to see who jumps in there. But since they've had it for 40 years, it would be I think it would be very difficult to predict it with any kind of accuracy.
That's fair. I would just shooting off an idea. It would be interesting to see what happened though.
True Sharktopus Von Jr. Japanese buyers are screwed if that happens. That is true. That Yes, you are correct.
Should we answer like some questions from chat if you want?
I've been keeping an eye. I haven't seen too much. They've been talking a lot about where's best to get your Haya figures, and there's like Calcus and BBTS. But we will keep an eye on it if there are questions.
Okay. Um, New molds, because we've gotten like what, like five remolds of Legendary Godzilla.
9. Oh wait, sorry, remolds. Or new
Remolds.
remolds or like new molds.
I think it's retooling. I'm on the Haya website right now. I would say like retooling, because we have let's go to page. It's because we have the updated version of GVK Godzilla,
Hmm.
a Spiral Heat Ray the Haya Exquisite Basic. What am I doing? The Godzilla vs Kong Heat Ray God version,
Yeah.
and then we have the Burning Godzilla, the regular version, then the King of the Monsters, then the translucent version of the Heat Ray Godzilla,
Hmm.
and then the re.
Re-evolved, yeah.
Why is it called re-evolved?
It was supposed to be pre-evolved, but it was just type error.
Okay, we got the pre-evolved, and then we have the energized version.
Yeah, and then it's Burning Godzilla Battle version,
That
which
one.
is the event exclusive. So yeah, we're at 9, but the very first one had a different tooling because people had complaints about the way the neck looked and the pin in the jaw.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have that very first one. It's actually my favorite one. I actually really like how it looks, despite the fact that there's a little bit of jankiness to it. But that is my favorite Haya Godzilla that I own right now.
Okay. I don't have. I don't want any. I want some. I'm still so mad that they canceled my order.
Yeah,
It
what a
sucks.
bizarre reason too.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's Saturday. We don't fulfill orders on Saturdays.
It's. I was so pissed. I was gonna break down because I was so excited because I saved up like for a month just to get that figure, and then only for it to get canceled.
Yeah, that's bogus.
Um, I think all of the Haya repaints for Legendary Goji are good. I think the weakest one, in my opinion, is King of the Monsters Godzilla, but it's my favorite. I just really I prefer the colors to all of them.
Hmm.
So I pre-ordered I bought the King of the Monsters one before any of the new ones got announced.
Hmm.
I th- I I think at the time the only one I wanted was the translucent one, but that was sold out. And I waited a month for it to go back in for the King of the Monsters to go back in stock.
Yeah.
And I was so mad about it. As you can tell, I'm very pissed about this.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, you've got the 2019, and then you've got the 2021 2.0, and then you've got the 2024 pre-evolved. Like, they all have very subtle differences between them, and yet all of them sell well. So,
Yeah.
like, if there's one that has a paint job that speaks to you more, like, go for it. That's fine.
Yeah. Uh, uh, what about the far out shipping dates? Because I know you
Hmm.
made a video about this, right? About the shipping dates for the Haya figures.
Yeah.
It's like a year out. I saw in the chat a little while ago. It was True Sharktimus Vaughn Jr. said I want to get your hopes up for it releasing next month, and that person was saying the Haya Evolved Godzilla to come out next month. I don't know. I don't know because I also saw a comment where it's their 91 Godzilla got pushed back an entire year.
So 91 was due about now. It hasn't been pushed back an entire year, but the production timeline is now a year. We're a year later. Something that's very interesting about what Haya is doing right now is they seem to be soliciting figures, looking at feedback, and then changing and improving the sculpts prior to release. Nothing has come out that I'm aware of that they've done this with yet. But with the 91, I think people had some criticisms with the way it looked and like the tail. Um, and then they came out with the beam variant solicitation. And if you looked at the beam variant looks noticeably different than the first one. And
I
so
did
then the
not.
question,
Sorry, I did not look at the solicitations for that one. Let me look at those real quick.
yeah, like the sculpt for the beam one looks better than the sculpt for the regular one. But then Hiya Toys posted, or no, it wasn't Hiya Toys. It was the sculptor for Hiya Toys posted on Weibo that the original one will have the same sculpt changes that the beam variant had. So they've actually gone back and they've improved the sculpt to look better than those solicitation photos we initially had. Now, this, of course, like I believe, has contributed toward why we haven't gotten that figure yet because it was initially due around now. But that's one thing they've done it with. The other one is evolved Godzilla. If you
Yeah.
saw the photos coming out of Wonder Festival, there was another gray prototype there next to the one from the solicitation photos that looks, again, like noticeably better. Like the details are sharper, the articulation looks improved. And it's like, again, they sold you on the images of this one figure, and now they've gone and they've delayed it, but they've improved the quality of that release. And now we've learned recently that they're doing it with the Godzilla 2014 figure. They had another great prototype of Godzilla 2014 that has additional articulation cuts that were not in the solicitation photos. So Hiya Toys behind the scenes seems to be delaying some of these things to go and make those changes, which I think is quite nice. And it is unusual in this space. It's not something we typically see. But I guess the one thing I would like to see improved is that they don't communicate any of this directly. Like if you bought 2014 directly from their website, I think that they should email you saying, "Hey, this was due. You paid us for this. This was due around now. Here is, we've delayed it. Here's the rough time frame we're looking at, and here's why it's been delayed." I think that would just I think that would tie people over who are currently wondering where their figures are.
Yeah, I looking back at the promotional, I definitely see some of the bit of the differences, but I feel like shouldn't like the improved version be the first version?
No, so it will be.
Oh,
So if you back in
oh,
March, if you ordered that Godzilla Evolved, like the one you see on their website, the one that you're going to get has improved articulation and improved details. It will look
okay,
strictly better than the one that you were promised.
okay,
But in doing that, they've delayed the release without really telling anybody.
okay. That's my bad. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Don't worry about it.
Um, okay, that makes a lot more sense. They should have they should definitely be communicating that as well.
No, I
But
agree. I agree. If you're ordering these figures and they're delayed, then
you,
I think that they should go out of their way to be like, "Hey, we're delaying this for these reasons, and we'll share more information when we have it."
okay, that makes more sense. Then I don't know why I'm. um.
Deep breath, Talon. Deep breath. You'll get through it. True Sharktimus Von Jr. It comes with Fist 2, right? Yes, they've added accessories since the solicitation. The solicitation didn't have additional hands, I don't think, and now they've shown off that it will have additional hands.
Did they add that into the solicitation photos? Cause I
Nope. If you looked at the Wonderfest photos, or
okay,
it might be the Tokyo, or not Tokyo, it might be the China Toy Expo. Um,
okay,
the one on display has fists now.
okay,
So it's improved sculpt, updated articulation, and now it has accessories, which is great. That's fantastic.
they're doing what SH Monster Arts can, put accessories in with their figures. I give SH Monster Arts a lot of shit for that, for not putting accessories with their figures.
Yeah, totally fair.
Where's the Scar King figure? That's something I've been wondering because I think I have the Playmates Battle Roar Scar King, and that's the
Mm,
only Scar King figure I have.
yeah,
Where's the Haya one?
I have the Playmates 6-inch one, not Battle Roar, just the standard one. Yeah, it is kind of unusual that we haven't seen Scar King yet. Like we haven't even seen a gray prototype yet. Um, uh so I have two thoughts on what might be taking so long. One is I think that it is just genuinely very difficult to sculpt fur. And I think that that is why it may have taken a long time for Haya Toys to come out with their Kong, um, and why the Monster Arts Kong doesn't really look the most accurate. I do like my Monster Arts Kong, but it doesn't look the most accurate. So I think fur might be just a tricky thing to capture in sculpt. Two is that I believe, and I think they are trying to get the his whip slash thing figured out, and maybe they just haven't been able to figure it out in a way that they are satisfied with. That as we talked about before the stream, like maybe they're trying to do it in a way that can be manufactured. So those are my two best guesses. But based on Shimo, based on Kong, based on Godzilla Evolved, like I have no doubt that whenever they get around to Scar King, like that's going to be a really cool figure.
Okay, I I don't really have a situation. I was wondering where it is. I don't really have any like ideas where it could be. Um, I just want a good Scar King figure. That's all I want
Mhm.
as a collector. Um, where do you think? Where's the Suko? And do you think they'll do a JXK Mothra figure?
Um, GXK Mothra, very easy repaint.
Yeah.
It's definitely on the way. They may pull a Monster Arts and combine it with Mothra, um, and it'll be a little bit bigger than the Monster Arts. Like I don't know if you're aware like how small the Monster Arts Suko actually is.
It looks really small.
He is very small, and like I see folks complaining about like the visible joints and pins, but like at some point you don't really have a choice. Like it's so small, there's nowhere to hide anything anymore. Um, Now hopefully, if and when Haya decides to do it, it'll be ever so slightly bigger. Maybe they can hide some stuff in there.
Okay.
Um, and then what was the other one? There was another one you mentioned, I think.
JXK Mothra.
So GXK Mothra again, like easy repaint.
Yeah.
Uh, it's just a matter of time before we see it, and maybe it's taking a while because they want to pair it with Suko.
I because isn't Suko because Suko and Mothra are paired together with like the SH Monster Arts one.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, and maybe that makes it a more viable product to sell, like for either Monster Arts or Haya. Like, is Haya going to sell a $30 Suko, or are they going to package it with Mothra and sell it together for like $70? I don't know. I really don't know.
Okay. I do want to do KP has asked this question twice. I feel bad for not answering it. Most anticipated Haya and SH Monster Arts releases Monsterverse.
In the Monsterverse,
I'll just keep the question on screen. It'll be better for this chat.
yeah, I don't know. Does anything stick out to you, Talon?
Um, I am really anticipating that Godzilla 2001 figure, the Godzilla 2000 figure.
Mm-hmm.
I think my main complaint with it is that the tongue looks a little too long.
Yes.
I talked about this. Actually, I lost the footage. I was gonna do a whole video comparing the 2001 and the 2000 to the SH Monstars versions, and I lost the footage. I just can't find it
Oh,
anywhere in my hard drives.
that's
And
a
I was gonna
drag.
announce the stream, so I had to do it in the short video I made about the Godzilla Mecha Godzilla battle version.
Yes.
Um, but like the tongue looks a little long, and like the jaw seems like a little like when it's open, it looks a little wonky
Mm,
in my opinion. But
hmm
everything else looks solid.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good one. And I imagine that one is going to sell like buckets worth for sure. Uh so if we're talking about like releases that we know of, I'm pretty hyped for Shimo. I think Shimo's going to be a really good figure. I'm still kind of pissed that the Haya Shimo is smaller than the Monster Art Shimo. That makes no sense. Um if we're talking about stuff that hasn't been announced, and it has to be MonsterVerse, as per the question,
Yes.
I really would like to see them get to like Behemoth or Tiamat.
Oh my god, don't get me started on Tiamat. I was so mad that Tiamat died in the New Empire. I was so pissed. I'm gonna be honest. I'm a little salty about how Tiamat died. I am a huge fan of Tiamat.
Yeah.
Her design is such a like cool like take on like that
hmm
kind of monster. Because the only like monster we have is Manda. That's similar to that.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. She was really cool for like the 12 seconds she was on screen. Uh, but as we've seen with Playmates, I feel like that would make for a kick-ass Haya Toys figure.
We did get a little bit of her in Godzilla Dominion in the comic. I have it back there,
hmm
but I was so pissed. That's the one thing I should have said on my review for that movie. I was so pissed that Tiamat died.
Yeah.
I'm still salty. Like 6 months later, I'm still salty about that.
Yeah. I think that I had Tiamat spoiled for me. I had it spoiled that she was in the movie like a day before I went to go see it. I tried really hard to go in as with as little spoilers as possible, but somebody was like, "Oh yeah, Tiamat's in the movie." I was like, "Oh okay, like, that's kind of cool." And then you see, and then like she gets smoked immediately, and I was like, "Well, why?"
It's like I think I don't know if it was the series decision or Adam Wingard's, but like Tiamat is really wasted. And I know
mm
she's in the new Kong game, but
mm.
like I want to see her in another movie. And I know like the comic, there's like another comic coming out.
Yeah, it's like MonsterVerse Declassified, I think it's called.
Yes. Um, I I don't know because what's going to happen there. I'll have to buy the comic. Um, off topic. Um, what I don't get to talk to people many about Dangerville, but like
Hmm.
Dangerville, I don't know how chat feels about or you feel about Dangerville.
So interesting thing with Dangerville. I did a video way back when I want to say May, where it was like a podcast where one of my co-hosts like absolutely was just shit talking Dangerville. Was not even trying to be nice about it. And Dangerville caught wind of that video and watched it and commented on it. And he thought it was me saying that stuff. And I was like, I responded to the comments like, dude, I haven't even watched your content. Like my co-host has these opinions and I know that they're a little bit harsh, but like I didn't say anything. And he went on Twitter and he posted this long thing. He's like, this well-known creator in the space is talking mad shit about me. He said such horrible things. I'm not going to share his name because I don't want to give him attention. Like, bro, I didn't say anything. I hadn't said anything about your content. I recorded a video where my co-host was shit talking you. Right? So that was like my first experience with Dangerville. I think was it yesterday they put up a video. It was like this new exciting GXK update. And then
Oh, yeah, they didn't even show any like gay JXK news, right?
yeah, there was nothing about GXK in that video.
Yeah, it says that I literally on their here. I can just share my screen. Dangerville. It literally just says this God JX. Okay. I have. Okay, we don't. Okay. Chat. Nixon, let me explain myself. I completely forgot on my main account. I watch all my videos on my main account. This, okay. I'm gonna get so much shit for this. This Godzilla X Kong update is big, and they don't say anything in it.
The thumbnail is -1.
Yeah, because they talk about -1.
And then I think the actual content they talk about, was it the video game or a comic or
Take a
something?
look at this.
They talk about the coming back with Godzilla -1 coming back with 13 minutes of bonus content.
Okay.
They talk about the. I guess probably just
Battle Mechagodzilla. Okay.
Battle Mechagodzilla. This like the Godzilla 70th anniversary trailer. Dangerville, if you copyright strike my channel for showing your video, I'm gonna be pissed. And then they talk about the game. They talk about the announcement of the sequel to Godzilla vs. Kong vs. the Justice League. They talk about the toys that got announced. And then they went back to the Mechagodzilla. And then and then I think it's Jacob who talks about he has like this video coming out about for the 7th anniversary of Godzilla. But nowhere in their video do they talk about the title.
Right. Okay, so I feel like that's a particularly like egregious example of like we have GXK news and it's big and then there's nothing.
Yeah.
I want to believe that that is not usually what they do. Like usually they will actually talk about what the title says they'll talk about. But there's this trend on YouTube that I absolutely hate where it seems like you can title a video whatever you want as long as there's a question mark at the end. For example, Destroyer confirmed for Godzilla X Kong 2? Question mark? And it's like, it's just the lowest hanging clickbait fruit. But it works. That's the problem. It works. People will click the video to see what is it that makes them think Destroyer will show up in the next MonsterVerse film.
Yeah.
I cannot hate Dangerville for playing the game that YouTube makes us play, right? Like they've just optimized it. They figured out how to play the game properly.
Yeah, and I'm as a smaller creator, I think we both know what the algorithm does to us.
Yeah, of course.
I
Right?
have way less subscribers than you, and I get punished by the YouTube algorithm.
Mm-hmm.
Like they never show my videos, even if it has like a good title, good thumbnail. It just never gets shown. So then I'm like, oh, why do I even do this if they're not going to show my video that I worked hard on?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's definitely what like newer content creators struggle with, is that you have these good ideas, good thumbnail, good video, good editing, but then the algorithm just doesn't show it,
Mm-hmm.
and it really pisses me off.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you saw it, but like around the time Godzilla X Kong came out, like I did a hot sauce video.
Yeah.
Where we did the Jade City Foods hot sauces. It was Team Godzilla, Team Kong, Team Shimo, Team Scar King, and like I got my wife involved. I got one of my closest friends involved. It was like a fun thing, and the algorithm just flatlined it. It never got off the ground. It was insane.
Yeah. Let's look at your. Is it okay if we look at your channel for a second?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. I'm gonna share my screen.
Are there going to be as many red bars as there are for Dangerville? Oh, there are. Nice.
Yeah.
Isn't that a happy little surprise?
Okay. I watch a lot of your videos. It was. Where is it? How long ago was the video?
It was like April or May.
Oh my god, I forgot to talk about the Dr. Skipper video from my channel.
Oh, it's right. It's right there. It's next to the G.
Oh,
The
yeah.
yeah,
Compared to like this one, 2.9, 5.8. But this one has 722.
yeah.
And it I don't know why. Because
See,
all of your
like, I
other
thought that was a great video. It was a ton of fun, and I thought that there was like a compelling hook to it, but the YouTube algorithm was just like, "Fuck this video." So
I'm definitely a very big Kaiju Canuck watcher if you guys
yeah,
can't tell. And Dangerville. I know I'm with a Hugbox server. If people are seeing that, I'm gonna get hate. I really like Dangerville. I'm not gonna lie. I like when they don't clickbait me, I will watch their video.
hmm
And if Dangerville does see this video, they better not go on Twitter and say these two small creators talk shit about us. Don't go watch their stream about it. Okay, true Sharkimus Von Jor. Talon is a mega fanboy. Okay. uh, I, I can't argue with that. I can't argue with that.
it's okay.
Um, we're okay. YouTube algorithm sucks.
Yeah, it can be very punishing.
Okay. That's all. I guess we don't really have to talk about articulation. I don't think Hayatos has a problem with articulation.
No, I think they're getting better, which is
Joint tolerance, not really.
what about joint tolerance?
I did see like some of his like I know Shin or Rob. You like to call him. I think
Yeah.
everybody calls him Rob. I think I was watching one of his Hayatoys reviews, and it's like he was sitting on the sun, and it's like really like nice to play with. I think it was. I found out the other day that he's subscribed to me, so and I'm surprised he is.
Rob's a good guy.
I do want to collaborate with him. He seems like a cool dude. Let me share my screen. It's gonna be as many red bars as you and Dangerville. I think it was his energized Godzilla with you in the
intro.
intro, or it was his KOTM. It was. I think it was the pre-evolved Godzilla.
Mm.
I love Rob. He's so funny. Rob is great.
Rob is great.
I would like to like talk to him as well. I think it'd be good to talk to him.
Mm.
Sorry. I'm fanboying over my favorite YouTubers, guys.
It's okay. Look, I will also be a Shin Rob Jiro fanboy. I think he's great.
Okay, at least I'm not alone. um, I don't think I have much about Mezco because I think you made a video about Mezco, right?
Yeah, Mezco is pretty much done.
Okay.
The only reason I say pretty much and not like definitively is because they haven't themselves come out and said anything. But like they haven't solicited a new figure in 2 years now.
That's a long time because I know that they did like the 5XL point series thing, right?
They did that, and then they have the Godzilla 54 as part of their what was the Kaiju Collective line, which has now been absorbed into the Mezco 112 line, which is that's the nail in the coffin. That Godzilla 54 was supposed to launch this new line from Mezco, and now it's being absorbed into their pre-existing line instead. So yeah, all signs point to Mezco being done with the license, which is a shame. Their 5 points XL stuff I really liked. As one of the few Showa era, figure makers. But I do think that there is something to be said about the fact that they did that at the same time that Super 7 started Reaction. And yet Super 7 is going strong with Reaction. Reaction is probably in the best state that it's been in, and yet Mezco was not able to sell enough for it to be a viable option.
Be- weren't they like really expensive? Like expensive. Like they would like do it like in like the big box with like all five of them. It was like $150, right?
So they were the first two sets. They were 4 packs, and I want to say they were around $85.
Okay.
So maybe even a little bit less than that. But I want to say they were around $85 MSRP.
Yeah.
But they came with so many accessories. So if you broke down a set per figure, you're talking about something that is almost equivalent to Super 7 reaction, but it has accessories. Like you have a Ghidorah with the gravity beams. You have Baragon with interchangeable pieces so that you can have him standing on 2 feet or down on all fours. Like the value proposition was actually quite nice. The problem, I think, that they encountered was 2 things. One is, and they both have to do with getting down to that affordability. One is you had to buy the set. If I wanted just Baragon, I couldn't get just Baragon. I had to buy Baragon and Gorosaurus and Mothra Larva and Godzilla or whoever was in that set. And so I think that was not so appealing to customers. And then the second thing is, and I think that this was the real driver that killed the line, was they drove the price down by making a buttload of them. And reactions, like I'll just use rough numbers here. I don't know what the actual numbers are. I don't claim to know what the actual numbers are. But like a reaction figure, let's say they make 1,000 units, and they make 1,000 units and they can sell them for $20 a piece. Well, Mezco's strategy was like, well, we have these figures, they're bigger, they're more detailed, they have accessories. To sell them for equivalent of $20 a piece, we're gonna have to make 2,000 units to amortize the tooling cost across the units.
Yeah.
Well, making 2,000 units assumes that you have 2,000 customers. Reaction, they make 1,000 units, and maybe there's 1,200 people out there that might buy it. If you make 2,000, it doesn't matter what you price the leftover 800 units. Nobody's going to buy them because everybody who wants it has it.
Yeah.
So I think that was the biggest thing. Like I still see those first two Mezco sets on my comic book shelves and in my local toy conventions. They're still there and they're being sold at like 25% off, 30% off, 40% off. But everybody who wants it has it already. There's just no one left to buy them. So I think that those 2 things are ultimately what killed the 5 points XL line. It was that they drove prices down by selling them as a set, but that forced customers to buy it as a set. But also they just made too many of these things. They made way too many of these things and needed them to sell, but they just didn't sell.
Okay. I don't know. I don't personally have any of the Mezco like toys. I did not know that they did like they made so many that nobody wanted to buy them. Because I, for once, like wanted to buy them, but like because I went to Seattle, Seattle, and I went to a few comic book shops, and they had Godzilla figures, but then I would just see like 2 of like the both like different of the boxes, and they just weren't there. And like I went back before we left, and they were still there, and it was like a week later.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
Yeah,
nobody's buying them.
So I took my daughter to the nearby comic shop, I think 2 weekends ago, and they had like 3 of each set on the shelf. Like they're just not moving. Everybody who wants one has gotten it, but they needed like another 100, 200, 300 people to buy them, and they just aren't buying them because there's just not that many of us.
I don't know what to say about the Mezco line.
I like the Mezco line. I have my whole setup here. It's funny because I recently posted on Instagram a reel of them and included the Mothra imago form. And somebody commented, they're like, "I didn't even know they made them in imago form." And I was like, "Yeah." um, no, they. I think that they look great. Um, yeah, they just couldn't sell them.
Another company I want to talk about is Mondo.
Hmm.
I know you made a video about that, but since
Yeah.
then we've gotten the new Mondo figures, and the first thing we'll talk about, what is up with that price? $190. 109 $190 for the Primal Frost variant of Kong, and then
For
100.
any of the GXK variants, they're all 90. They're all $190. I thought when they first showed them that it was 190 for the set, and I was like, okay, that's actually, you know, that's a neat price. And then it was $190 each. Oh my god, no!
I don't know much about that. I don't have any Mondos, but I know you have a few, correct?
I have two. The one that's closest to me, this is the Biolante.
Okay,
Uh,
that looks pretty cool. Oh, they're huge.
so so this one, so this is translucent with glitter. It's really really pretty. Um, this one was $125, and it's comparable to the GXK stuff.
Okay.
So like, why the fuck is the GXK stuff $65 more?
I'm looking at not Mesco, Mondo. $250 for the vinyl designer figure by James Chrome. Wait, that's not the. Where's the okay? $95 for the 84 soft vinyl sunrise variant,
Mm-hmm.
and then $95 for the Yumi variant of 84 Godzilla.
Yeah, all the 84 variants were in the same ballpark.
Okay. Um, that price on the JXK variants is outrageous. Jesus fucking Christ.
So it's an interesting discussion because like when I posted my video, like we were talking about, or I was talking about, you know, when you make 250 units and they sell out in 3 minutes, that tells me that you could probably do like 350 units and you would be able to sell through those as well.
Yeah.
Right. So let's hammer out let's use some hard numbers here. Okay. I want you to like, let's take an example. I'm going to sell a figure for $100. I'm going to sell 50 units. Okay. Easy numbers. Well, if those 50 units get sold out in like 2 minutes, then that tells you that there's a higher demand for the figure at $100. So maybe I can do 60 units at $100. Maybe I can do 70 units at $100. And you can sort of push the envelope and see how far you get until you're like, okay, we know how big the audience size is. Mondo's solution to the supply and demand was not to increase the number of units sold, it was to increase the price at which you sell the units. And I find that so distasteful. That when given the option to either make more units and get these things into more people's hands, they chose the route of, okay, well, we'll just curb the demand by making the figures more expensive. I find that very distasteful.
I would be pissed if you're selling it for that much. And I was looking at the Biolante glitter variants are $125. And then why is the regular version $190 for Godzilla from JXK? The regular version is $190.
Yeah, all of the recolors, all of the colorways of those molds are $190.
if people don't know what I'm talking about, let me just share my screen. $190 for the regular version.
Yep.
And then $100 for the regular Kong.
Kong, like, okay, he's got the axe, he's got the interchangeable arm. I can understand like a small price increase. Godzilla being that much is crazy to me.
It looks good, but I'm not paying $190 for just the figure. And it 10 to, okay, that was embarrassing. 10.5 inches. That is pretty tall. That's about the same size as the old Bandai America Godzilla Final Wars I have back there, I think.
Yes, this is comparable size though to the Biolante.
Okay.
And yet it's $65 more.
I would only buy this. Why are my dogs barking? I would only buy this if this was like maybe 75. Where is that price? Where is that price going?
So this one is much bigger than the 85 ones.
Okay.
The 85s are about 8 inches tall. This one's 10.5 inches tall. And you know, like when when you increase the height by 2.5 inches, like the whole volume actually gets much, much bigger. So that is like, okay, 100, like it's comparable to Biolante's 125. I can get in at the 125. Like I can be convinced. 190 is just wild to me. And I believe the primal Kong toward the top of the page, I think that one and then the Godzilla are actually still stocked. They haven't sold through.
Pre-order still.
Yeah, like I think you can still buy it.
That's just so much money.
So this tells me that like it's not selling through. Like maybe people aren't really vibing with this price point.
I wouldn't either. I do not like this price point. Cause I think it was on, I think it was Instagram, or like I saw the promotional for this, and I'm like, oh, that looks cool. How much is it? It's $190. I just found out.
No, it's like a slap in the face.
It's outrageous. How could you pay that much? Oh my! I'm
truly.
I don't know how to feel about this. Honestly,
it's too much.
It's
money.
outrageous. It's outrageous.
It's too much money. The fact that they solve the supply and demand issue not by making more figures, but by making the current batch of figures more expensive is just crazy to me. I cannot believe. Like I almost respect the greed at a certain point, but like just messed up.
Yeah, and I do want to say this question right here. You see the Godzilla figure that released the thing is easily the best Godzilla figures ever. It's only $70.
I have seen it.
I have not.
I've flown it by my wife. She's like, "Why are you showing this to me?"
This would be my first reaction to this figure. Maybe I'll do a video. What the heck is this?
I think there's like 4 different colorways of it too. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
I don't know how to feel about this. It looks so cursed.
that's a good way to put it.
Okay. Who made this? Who made this?
Hoomst.
Okay, come on. Load the page, please. Okay. I'll figure it out later. Is it Amazon? Because it says Amazon. Is it,
You could probably get it on Amazon, but I think it's also on Big Bad Toy Store.
Oh, it's Cleox is the company.
I see.
I have not seen that until one of the True Sharktopus Von Jr. mentioned it. I don't know how to feel. It looks cursed. Um, Super 7. I know Super 7 is very, I don't know, kind of controversial, I would say, with their figures.
What is it? Why would you say they're controversial?
Um, Probably the glossiness on the figures.
So you're
I
talking
would
about ultimates.
Ultimates.
Mm.
Reaction series looks cool.
Mm.
It's the ultimates that is controversial because I know their ultimates line is very glossy, and I know you had a discussion with Brian, right, about a little bit of that, or no?
I've talked about it with Kyle, because he's actually like the designer behind it. I don't know if I talked to Brian about it, but I definitely talked to Kyle about it. Um, yeah, yeah. There's definitely a little bit of sheen to the figures. Um, I do think that I do think that part of it is like plastic plastic used for toys does tend to be shiny.
Yeah.
Like if you look at if you have some like the Playmates Godzilla X Kong figures, like I have a whole display here of them, and like they are all quite shiny.
I have this guy. I also have the. Should I get the cursed version of this guy? Should I get the one that has like the outer skin in it?
Oh yes, hard yes. That's yeah, this guy. Yeah, this is a great toy.
I actually opened up Apple Music somehow. How did I do that?
Yeah, this is a fantastic figure.
I love this guy.
Um, so yes, yeah, there is a bit of a glossiness, but also like toys toys are usually glossy. I mean, I think we get acclimated to like this high-end collectible market
Yeah.
that when somebody like Super 7 like Super 7 very much wants to make fun toys.
Yeah.
And I think that some folks just like really struggle around that concept that like they are targeting to make cool toys. They're not trying to make like the high-end collector action figure. And you might say like, "Oh, well, but they're priced at high-end action figure prices." And it's like I guess, but like there are many classic toys and collectibles that just come at high prices for many good reasons. But yeah, they can be a little bit glossy. They tried to correct some of it with Wave 2. Wave 3 was good. Wave 4 even I would say was not too glossy. And then minus one was back to being like significantly more glossy than what came before it. As we were discussing before the stream, like uh it's in person it's a little bit glossy, but if you catch it at it can catch light weird, and depending on who photographs it, like it can come across like super glossy.
Has Harold from Figure Mania show? If you guys don't know, has Harold come across like it being too glassy? I don't know if you like if he's talked to you about that, about like
Uh,
because he does a lot of toy photography.
yeah,
So
he talked about it in his review. Um,
I don't think I watched his review.
yeah, so yeah, I think he landed somewhere similar to you and I, where it was like, yeah, it's a little bit glossy in person, but on camera, like it can really come across as shiny.
Yeah.
But it is something that they're aware of, um, and that people are asking for, less gloss. And I think that that's a reasonable request. I mean, if something is too glossy, like it can look cheap, it can feel cheap, and nobody, despite the nature of the thing you're buying, nobody wants to to feel like they've bought something cheap. So
Yeah.
it's on their radar, and you know, hopefully, hopefully it's something that gets corrected and corrected like permanently moving forward.
Yeah. I really hope that does because this is my first Ultimates figure. I think personally, all the other figures are a little too glossy for me, and I
Mhm.
know I don't think necessarily for me it's I think the glossiness is a bit distracting for me on the other figures,
Mm.
in my opinion.
Mhm.
That's all I have. I think they look good if they had less gloss. Like you said,
Sure.
like it's hard to make plastic look less glossy. It's like because they're toys, it's plastic.
Yeah. Yeah. It's doable though. Like there are plenty of coats that you can buy in like a spray paint can to do it. Um,
Uh, I think on one of I know on my let I probably shouldn't share my screen on my YouTube studio. Um, on one of my comments, they sprayed it with something to make it less glossy.
yeah, so you can get like a clear matte spray paint that just adds like a nice matted texture to it. And I've seen photos, and it does make a really big difference. I haven't done it because I don't feel compelled to do it, but uh, if that's what people want to do, I think it's a really good option for them.
Yeah, I can't find the comment. I should have. They might have talked about it in my video that I made about if Super Senate is ripping you off.
Hmm.
I don't think they are. Um, I was really happy with how that video turned out, but
Good.
I don't. I think it was. I did talk about this in the video. It's like solicitation versus final product,
Hmm.
and I kind of talked about with SH Monster Arts earlier in the stream where it's like if you show really good renders or
Hmm.
like in hand like solicitation photos, you should try and fulfill those
Hmm. Yeah, we've talked
because
about it here as
yeah,
well.
because the Godzilla -1 renders were really good.
Hmm.
That's what sold me on the figure.
Hmm.
Um, and I know, didn't you make a video about can you trust render? Like,
I did. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I seem like
I talked about how renders are just one step behind what everyone else does with resin paint masters. You would make the render first and then you would make the resin paint masters, which is what Haya uses and what Monster Arts uses. But as you have probably seen, even at the resin paint master phase, companies have issues matching what they solicit with.
yeah,
Right. So that was really the whole purpose of that video, was to break down like the figure manufacturing process, but also to show that like digital renders and resin paint masters are not that they're not far apart at all. They're adjacent to one another. Um and I also made a point in that video to say that like, or maybe it was the minus color monster arts Photoshop video, where I said what I've said here tonight, is that if a company does everything in their power to make the solicitation photos look good, then they are just setting themselves a high bar that they then need to meet. And if they
yeah,
don't meet it, then they run the risk of losing customer buy-in.
okay, that okay. When you're showing off renders, the customers are in mind, 100%. Uh, where am I going with this? Let,
Deep breath, Talon. Deep breath, and just think about it.
if you're gonna show renders and you know what, forget it. It's fine. All right, it's something I was gonna say earlier.
You can say it now.
It was I already said it. It was like renders go to renders equal fulfill product. It's what I earlier. That's what I. Okay. Uh, was there a reason why -1 Godzilla was had like a really long like shipping day because it was a year, right? It was like a year.
It was
Like it got announced, and then like a year later, it would actually like start shipping to
It got
customers.
announced November 3rd. And when did you get yours? Mid-August.
I got mine start of September, like first week of September, because I was I think I was the first one. I was the first one on YouTube to post a video
Yeah.
about it.
So that was 10 months.
Okay. Was there a reason that it took so long?
That's about standard for production timelines. I mean,
Okay.
Haya is regularly like 10 to 12 months. Monster Arts is usually 8 months, I think, because by the time they solicit, they're further into production.
Okay.
So yeah, 10 months. 10 months is about now. Like Wave 4. Wave 4 took a long time. Wave 4 was Wave 4 was 13 months, I think.
That's a long time because you did a video with was Wave 4 was Space Godzilla
And Mogera.
and Mogera. I seem like such a fanboy this whole time. um, that's a long time for Wave 4.
Yeah, that was a long time. When Super 7 first got started with Ultimates, their timelines were closer to 8 months.
Okay.
And just I don't know if it's like scoping stuff, like they're just making so many products now that I don't know if it's a staffing issue or if it's a capacity issue. I don't know if it's like, you know, they're trying to get these things into production, but then there's other companies with things in line first, and that's what I actually don't know why the timelines have blown up the way that they have, but yeah, their mainline releases have taken a little bit longer than what they have taken historically.
Okay. Okay. That's all I have to say about the Ultimates line. What about the reaction line? Because I know we talked about this before the stream.
Mm-hmm.
I was watching a video about Monster Island Buddies, like I said to you earlier.
Yeah.
About like the reaction, and it looks cool. It looks solid. I used to be not a big fan of it, but after that video, I'm like, okay, I vibe with this. It looks cool. But that Hawaii Hedora, I want it so bad.
Yeah. It's a great figure. So for folks watching, what Super 7 tries to do with reaction, do you know what reaction stands for?
Ah, frick! It's like they were bringing stuff back in like
I
from
mean
like
the name.
no, I don't.
So it's abbreviated for retro action.
Okay.
And what they are trying to do is they are trying to make figures in the style of how Kenner made the old Star Wars line in, I think it was the 70s, where it was just like very simple 5-point articulation. For many people, that was like their first toy line or the one that they have the most nostalgia for. And so Super 7's whole guiding thing with reaction is like, what if Kenner in the 70s made these other lines, whether that's Godzilla or Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles or Transformers or whatever. And so this is meant to be what a toy available in the 70s would have looked like from an American made company. And to that, I think that there's just a charm to it that I really like. Like they're obviously stylized. They are meant to be fun toys. They are not aspiring to be anything other than like a nice, humble, fun toy. I think when they were first shown off, like Series 1 was like Godzilla, two Godzillas, Mothra, Jet Jaguar, Rodan, and there's one more.
I literally watched a video literally on this. He was going over every single one. Yeah, it was not the metallic-y one. It was
No, it was like the flatter gray one.
yeah.
And I think there was this like huge adverse reaction, no pun intended, where people were expecting one thing, and then there's this other thing that comes out, and it's like, well, who the hell asked for this? Which to an extent is a fair question, but I don't think it was a matter of like who asked for this. It was like, this is what Super 7 wanted to make, and if you vibed with it, you vibed with it, and if not, like, you just move along. And I think that they've gotten better with time, and more people are starting to pick up on it. Like in the chat I did with Donnie Winter recently, I was mentioning
I saw that.
I think the fact that you can go into Target and buy a Mogera 1957 figure for $20 is insane. I think that is crazy. But you know, people get hung up on the price. It's $20. They think it should be cheaper. You know,
Yeah, because the reaction series is like $20 roughly for each figure, right?
yeah. Sometimes they get a little bit bigger. Like the first Hedorah was actually $25 because he's noticeably bigger than the others. But in every repaint afterward, they've brought him down to $20, which is nice. I think it's actually a mistake on their part, but it's nice as a customer that it comes back down to $20.
Yeah.
But it's also like what we talked about before with like Mezco. They know how many they have to make because they know that they know the size of their audience. Like if there's 1,000 people out there, they're not going to make 1,200 of these. They're going to make maybe 800 and see, right? Like they reissue reaction figures all the time if there's a demand for it, if things sell out really quickly. But what that means is like if you're only selling to like 800 people, then you have fewer people to distribute your manufacturing costs across. So those individual units have to be more expensive.
Okay. So, okay, that makes more sense. Okay. Yeah. I don't really know what to say about besides the reactions. It looks cool. Oh, I want to talk about the Super Kaiju line, because I know you commented on my Super 7 Godzilla -1 review, because I said in my video I wish it had like a jointed jaw,
Like a hinge jaw.
like a hinge jaw. That's what I mean.
Yeah. So Super Kaiju, those are not up here in Canada. They're Target exclusive. I have a contact, Thomas, who bought them for me and mailed them to me. I'm expecting them sometime in the next week to take a look at them. What it seems to me like they're trying to do is they're trying to capture some of the feeling of the Trendmasters figures from the late 90s. But I think the biggest hurdle that people are running into is the price point. It's $35 for these 5.5-inch figures with a little bit limited articulation range. And I guess we'll see what the market is like for those. It's a brand new scale. It's not like Reaction, where Super 7's been doing that for years. And it's not like Ultimates, where, you know, we're all used to like the larger, more detailed Kaiju action figures. This is somewhere in the middle where there hasn't been a lot of movement for a long time. So I'm very curious to see how they perform. I think that having not had them in my own hands, I think my impression is that I like what they're going for. I think that they are fun. I think that the $35 is the upper range of what a reasonable price is for them. But my understanding is that Target will often have promotions and sales. And for the folks that are willing to wait it out, I think that they'll be able to get these things at a price that they're more comfortable with. But even some folks I've seen that like were really skeptical about them seem to have them in hand. They seem to like them. They just don't like the price, which I think is an important distinction these days, because I feel like some people complain about items because they like the product, they just don't like the price. But they conflate that as saying that the product is bad, which I don't think that they're really appreciating like the nuance of it. Like I think that you can have a cool product that is just, it's not worth its price tag without shitting on the product.
Yeah. So price tag is the main issue with these, I'm guessing.
That seems to be like the impression that I get.
Okay.
Like people seem to get them in hand and they like them. They think that there's a charm to them, but they're $35 a piece, which is just, it's a barrier.
I haven't seen any in Target. I barely go to Target.
Mm.
I don't know.
Same, actually.
I don't go out of the house a lot. I literally only go to school or a friend's house or a family event. It's really sad.
Maybe you should change that.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should get my driver's license and just drive. Maybe every day I'll just go to Target for fun.
Maybe, and I say this in the nicest way possible, maybe you should touch grass.
Maybe I should. Maybe I should. I'll just grab my camera, I'll just go outside, and I'll just go touch grass real quick outside. Maybe I'll go do that for a short. I'll just go outside. I touch grass. Kyle, are you happy now?
This is Alan's live reaction to touching grass.
Shoot, that would be really funny to do just right now. Just grab my camera, go outside. That'd be a really funny bit. I'm really tempted to do it. Okay. I guess we could talk about Bandai vinyls now. That's something I really want to talk about because I have some mixed feelings on it.
You tell me what your feelings are, because I'm not a big Movie Monster Series vinyl collector. I have some just because my brother-in-law went to Japan like late last year, and while he was there, he was just like, "Do you want some of this stuff?" And I was like, "Yes, please." But I don't really collect them, so why don't you tell me what your thoughts are on Movie Monster Series?
They can do better. I know they can. Because with some of their recent figures, I feel like they've been a little lackluster, and I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. Some of their recent releases have been very lackluster. I'm going to be honest. Like, literally, before you joined the stream, I literally just wrapped up watching the Shinrabjira's newest video about the Hedorah. I think... let me... Hold up. Let me go to his channel again. It was the Movie Monster Series Hedorah color renewal version. It looked really mid. I'm not gonna lie. It's for some reason they keep on doing these renewal color versions. Like,
yeah, they did one with like Space Godzilla.
Yeah.
And Godzilla 91, was it?
Let me. I think it was, but I think it might have been under a different name. No, it's same color renewal version. They also did the coin. They also did like a coin parking delivery version as well.
Okay.
And those releases are really bad. So I know that they can do better. I really liked the Godzilla 1974 reissue, the 2024 version. I'm a huge fan of that design. It's my third favorite Godzilla design of all time.
Gotcha.
I really like that design. And I want that figure, but like I don't know where to get it from. I think
was it a Godzilla store exclusive?
I think it might have. I think it was. I feel like it might have been because I know for the vinyls they do certain Godzilla store exclusives. And it's really annoying because I hate it when they do that because there's some of them are Godzilla store exclusives, and I really don't like it because it doesn't like give availability everywhere. I don't think it's only in Japan, right?
Or on the Godzilla store website.
US. Did you get you got the steelbook for Godzilla -1, right?
Yes, but I did not get it through them because they don't ship to Canada anymore.
Oh, I feel so bad for you.
So Michael over at the Articulation series offered to pick it up for me. Like I paid him for it, but he offered to basically be a courier, and he he got it sent to his house and then he mailed it to me.
Okay. Um, where do I? Okay, I have. I don't. I'm not a little kid. Okay, I am a kid, but I go touch grass occasionally, and I don't stalk the Godzilla store 24/7. Uh, I don't know where to go. I don't stalk this site a lot. Where? Okay, this is just confusing now. I don't know where to go. Category. Uh, designer toys, vinyl figures. There we go. Wait.
Yeah, they have it. It's up for pre-order right now, actually.
I how where? Wait, where? I'm on. I see Band Presto, CCP, designer toys, Funko and vinyl figures.
Here, I'm just gonna DM you on Discord the link.
Okay, thank you. There we go. As I said before the stream, I don't have money in my bank account. I have $1 in my bank account. Maybe I'll get it for Christmas. It looks solid. It's a Godzilla store limited. Godzilla store exclusive.
Yes.
Yeah. How did Shin Rajira get it then? If it's
he got it right from Japan.
Okay. So
Yeah,
he imports it.
Yes. Yeah, he's got somebody hooking him up.
He's lucky. Okay. Another. Okay. I think that's all I want to say about vinyl figures. Because I know. Do you have anything like you want to say about that? Like any vinyl figures?
Not really. I mean, Godzilla's toy history started with vinyl figures, and I think it's cool that they still have vinyl figures.
Okay.
I like the Bandai ones much more than the Mondo ones for reasons that should be obvious.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, at least I don't have to pay a kidney for a Mondo. I guess that's all we have to say about vinyls then?
Yep.
Okay. I don't know much about Titanic Creations, so I feel like this is something you can talk about.
Yeah, so I did an interview on my channel with Mac McClintock. He's the owner of Titanic Creations, and they actually started out because they wanted to do affordable kaiju toys in line with like the Bandai movie monster series.
Oh yeah.
And so they have a bunch of original characters like Titanicus, Scaraeus, Nosferodon, and they were doing that for a while, and they got a bunch of figures made. And I think they were selling okay, not great, and so they eventually decided like they wanted to make. They got the license to make Gorgo, and they wanted to make like a super articulated figure. I don't have the film accurate Gorgo, but I have the comic accurate Gorgo. And that one turned out really, really successful for them. So they've decided to pursue other licenses. So they got the license for Yongari. Yongari was earlier this year, sold really well. And now they're doing Pulgazari. Pulgazari's rights are a little bit complicated. So you might notice the name is slightly altered from its original form. But they're doing a whole bunch of like not hyper, but like super articulated Pulgazari variants. So film accurate, bright translucent red, a more contemporary one. So they're just trying to make action figures of like some really niche kaiju characters. And we're talking about kaiju that like I had no idea existed. But some of my like hardcore online friends know about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Are they looking to get the Godzilla license at all? Or not yet? Or since they're such a, like, as I know, they're a really small company. Because I think in your interview you talked about how it's only like him and a few other people, right? And then they have like a factory out in like China producing the figures, right?
Yeah. So they made a comment back in, I want to say July, about wanting to start a relationship with Toho. My understanding is that too many too many there are too many license holders for Toho right now in the articulated action figure space. So you've got Super 7 at the 3 3/4 inch. You have uh, Bandai at the 6 inch in both vinyl and articulated action figure. You've got Haya 7 inch articulated action figure. You have Super 7 at the 8 inch articulated action figure. We now have 3 at the 9 inch articulated action figure. So I think Toho's perspective is like, let's not oversaturate the market for the time being.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess that's all of the topics I like. All like the companies I wanted to talk about. There's
Mhm.
like the random figure topics I want to talk about. The one I really want to talk about is where are the Showa era like Godzilla figures from like other companies besides Bandai?
Mhm.
Because like I know Bandai did the Godzilla 1972, the Jaguar, Gigan. That's
Mhm.
like the only like they're the only company making like Showa era Godzilla figures.
Mhm.
Is there a reason for that, or like is it just Toho being really strict?
So every company that has the Toho license right now has Showa available to them. The fact that you are not seeing more Showa stuff should tell you how much confidence they have in that market.
So
Whether or not,
not a lot of confidence.
not a lot. No. So you've got the reaction line is predominantly in Showa.
Yeah,
The Mezco line was predominantly in Showa. It was entirely in Showa. And then you've got some there, Playmates was doing some stuff, Jet Jaguar, Gorosaurus, Rodan 1956.
I have that Gorosaurus.
Nice. Um, but then Baragon, and then they stopped making that stuff. Um, like Haya has access to do it. Super 7 has access to do it in Ultimates. Monster Arts dips their toes in every once in a while, maybe for anniversaries. The fact is, the reason you see so much Heisei, so much Millennium, is that stuff sells way more than the Showa stuff.
Okay.
Um, I think for us here in the West, like we have a lot of nostalgia for the Showa stuff. Like I know for me, like I grew up on a lot of the Showa movies. I watched all the Showa movies when I was a lot younger.
I was watching your interview with Donnie the other day. Like your first of your second ever Godzilla movie was Ebirah Horror of the Deep, and your
Yes.
first one was got King Ghidorah versus Godzilla.
Yeah.
Donnie seems like a really cool guy. We actually follow each other
Oh,
on I
cool.
think X.
That's
So
awesome. Yeah. So, but like outside of North America, I don't think that Showa's particularly popular. Um, and yeah, I think that's just where we're at. I think that Showa, while we have a lot of nostalgia for it, I think Heisei specifically is like the definitive Godzilla era. Um,
personally, for me, it's the Millennium, it's the Millennium series
yeah.
because I grew up with the Millennium series, so that's my personal favorite era.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So I think that's where the lack of Showa comes from.
Okay.
Um, you know, I might have said this before, but I feel as though sometimes the discussion that people have is nobody is making Showa, therefore we know it would sell well. When you should be asking, nobody is making Showa, how do we know it would sell well?
Yeah.
Right? So that's just where I land on it.
Okay. Personally, I didn't grow up with a lot of the Showa films. Those that's actually like the newest. like like those movies are like the third era of Godzilla I saw. It
Hmm.
went from Millennium, Heisei, Showa, literally backwards.
Hmm.
What my favorite Godzilla film was Godzilla Final Wars. I love Godzilla Final Wars. And I know you talked about that with your with Donnie. It's like you watched it and then your friend, because you were gonna watch it with your friend, and then you watched it and then you watched it again with your friend.
Yes. Yeah, I was too excited to watch it that I watched it before he had a chance to come over.
It's great. I love it. It's so good. Um, do you want? I actually have. I know you. I think you were talking about Diego Doom the other day.
Was
I,
I?
th- I. Th- oh, okay. Okay, I'm done with all like the figure topics. I guess we could just have a friendly discussion and off the stream.
Sure.
Um, I think it was in Diego Doom's Godzilla minus Super 7 Godzilla -1, or it was in the Kaiju Hugbox server. You were talking about Diego Doom, unless I'm thinking of somebody else.
I think one of my channel members linked the video of him reviewing the Ultimates -1. I haven't watched his video, but my understanding is that he was relatively critical of the figure.
Okay.
That's my understanding. I haven't actually watched it.
Okay. I haven't fully watched it. I watched like half of it, and then I clicked off. Okay. I don't watch a lot of Diego Doom.
Hmm.
I only click on the videos like I seem interested in.
Hmm.
Uh, I would say I'm a C level Diego Doom fan.
Okay.
I don't know where to go with this.
No, I mean, I used to watch some of Diego's stuff. He seems like a nice dude. He seems to really like monster arts, which I think is great. Um, his production quality always looks really clean.
Yeah.
And I think that he leans into the meme of saying absolutely fantastic. Like he's self-aware, which is fun.
Yeah. Even his intro's like absolutely fantastic. True Sharktopus Vaughn Jr. says, "What level Steven's toy review fan are you?"
I think that question was for you because you said sea level Diego Doom.
Oh, okay. For Steven, I don't watch a lot of Steven anymore. I used to, but for me, his videos got really boring halfway through because I, I know you used to watch him a lot. Like with his like rants and stuff. It's really like I might just start beef with him. To be honest, I'm gonna start beef with him.
Why? Why would you start being?
Some of his videos get really boring after a while. It's not somebody I come back to for toy reviews. And I feel like some of his rants are a little forced, in my opinion. And I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for that. I just hope nobody clips it and just sends it to him. Talent, how about to get hate from Steven and Dangerville? I swear if Dangerville sees this, and Steven, I'm screwed. All my 400 subscribers are going to unsubscribe from me.
No,
I'm cooked.
Steven has gone on record saying that he never punches down, so I don't think you have anything to worry about.
Okay. Maybe just Dangerville, because I think that the main issue that we talked about earlier is them clickbaiting. I might make a video about that. I'm not going to lie. I might.
If you make it, you should tag them in the title.
Okay.
Because if you tag them, I guarantee you they will watch it.
Okay.
The question is if that's the bear you want to poke.
Should I really start like a drama with Dangerville?
You could be the drama alert of the Godzilla collecting.
That would be hilarious. I would love to be that. Oh my god, Razy says, bro's about to hate on everyone to hate everyone to hate on him. I'm gonna be like the Godzilla guy who just nobody knows about, to like the guy who sends hate on everybody. I'm cooked.
Yep.
Uh, I know. Do you have a little bit of beef with Steven?
Do I have a little bit of beef with Steven?
Just like a grain of salt.
Like I've got my video out there where I criticize the one video that Steven put out. I have since then made videos, especially around like Titanic Creations, where I encourage folks to go and watch Steven's reviews on those figures, because he does a really great job of breaking down the articulation. So like my professional opinions of Steven are out there and well documented. Of course, I have my personal opinions of Steven as well, but those are not worth the paper that they're not written on.
Okay. Okay. I just hope I don't get hate for saying that. And I
Why
might.
would you get hate for that? I don't know why you would get hate for that.
I don't know.
Or you mean the previous comments you
The
made?
the previous comments I made about
Oh yeah,
Steven.
yeah. You might get yelled at for that.
We'll see you at the Kaiju Hug Block server. We'll see. I really hope I don't. But I guess that's all we have to say for the stream. Do you have anything else you want to say, Kyle?
No, this has been a lot of fun. It was I don't know. I'm just happy to be given a platform to talk about toys for 2.5 hours. So
Yeah.
thank you for arranging this. Thank you for arranging the topics and everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had a really good time.
And if you guys want to go support KaijuCanuck, I left all of his socials down in the description. If you guys want to go support him on his X, Instagram, and YouTube, they are linked in the description. And thank you, everybody. And that is us signing off for right now. See you guys.
See you guys.